Hi, everybody. Today we are going to talk about why things don't make sense to caregivers until much later. This video is actually part of a special celebration for me. It is linked to episode 171 of my podcast, The Caring Generation, which is now entering its 8th year. So what I want to talk about is that caregiving is challenging. And many times we're so busy spinning around and circling and running from here and there and doing and doing and doing that we don't have time to realize that there's all these opportunities and these decisions that kind of just float by or pass us by that we may miss or may not pay attention to. And years down the road, we look back and we say, oh my gosh, that's what my mom or dad meant. That's what grandma was talking about. How on earth did I miss that? I was just too busy. I'm Pamela D Wilson. I am a caregiving expert. I have worked in the field for 20 years professionally, and I have personal experience caring for aging adults and disabled adults. There's a lot of help information tips on my website, PamelaDWilson.com. Please click on the buttons below. Like and follow my channel so that other people you know can find hope, help, and support. So you may have heard some of the examples that I am about to share. However, as I mentioned, if you were too busy at the time or thinking of something else or just thought, that doesn't make any sense to me, it's not relevant to my life, maybe you kind of just let these things go. But eventually, all of these things, these 3 things and the other 7 things that you're going to find in the podcast and on my website will make sense to you. Number 1, time has value. When you're young, you have so many years ahead of you and you're looking at all these things that you want to do, career, marriage, children, travel. There's just so much opportunity. So when you think of a person who is 30 years old and someone who is 60 and you put them together, they both may see life as an adventure, but they may be looking at it from a totally different perspective. The 30-year-old may be looking at life saying, I got to do all these things. I got to rush, and I'm a caregiver and blah, blah, blah. I got to do all this stuff. The 60-year-old, who may be nearing retirement or may have already retired, may still see life as an adventure, but for different reasons. The time horizon for a 60-year-old may only be another 5, 10, or 20 years. If the stars align and everything works out and they're healthy and they can go travel and do all the things that they wanted to. Because in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, they were doing, rushing. So when we think of this, when we think of the health of a 30-year-old and the health of a 60-year-old, we also have very different situations. Health problems don't just show up overnight, even though they do show up overnight. You know this if you're a caregiver. Your elderly parents may have had a heart attack or they went to the hospital. All of a sudden you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to take care of all of these things, right? Now, what nobody tells you is that your health habits and the way that you think and everything that you do in your 20s, 30s, and 40s affects what your life will be like in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So do pay particular attention and care for your body, your mind, your spirit, your mood, what you think, your goals, because all of that creates your future. And once you're 60 or 70, the time horizons may not allow you to go back and fix all of those things or change all of those things that you wish you done and you didn't, or you thought you were going to get done and you didn't, because of so many things that just popped up, caregiving being one of them. Number 2, worry and fear can hold you back from the life that you want. Life is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I could die tonight. I could not wake up tomorrow morning. We all face that reality. So when you consider your options, think about probabilities. And I'll use an example that everyone likely has experienced, right? You want to look for a new job. How do you do that? Today, it's on the internet. You're doing online applications. Your resume is scanned by bots before it even gets to a real person. Now, if you're submitting one application a month and you're competing against somebody else who is submitting 3 or 4 online applications every day, who do you think is going to get the job? Now, I will say it depends on your skills and your qualifications and the match between the job that you're applying for and your skills. It's possible that the person who submits one application a month can get a job, but the likelihood of that person versus somebody who submits 3 to 4 really good applications a day every day, that person probably will be the first to get a job offer. So in all areas of life, we have to figure out ways to raise the odds of our success. Even if that success means devoting more time to you and less time caring for somebody else, because that can be a definite caregiving balance. Even if that success means that you have to talk to more people or you have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, unless you're willing to do that, your odds of success will be lower than somebody else who is willing to do all of those things that you are not. Being committed and consistent and dedicated are wonderful habits for success. So ask yourself, is what I'm doing every day, are all the actions that I'm taking moving me closer to my goal, or are they keeping me further apart from my goal? Only you can answer that. Number 3, for all the things that caregivers don't learn until it's way too late. Learn to be alone and be happy. Now, caregivers are often isolated due to the circumstances in which they live. You may be a spousal caregiver 24/7. You're a caregiver just every day, every hour of the day. Or maybe you are a caregiver working full-time and you're a caregiver the other 72 hours of the week, hoping that you're going to squeeze in 8 hours of sleep a night, right? So you may feel very, very stretched. And so this can lead to a sense of loneliness. But if you find interests and find ways to communicate with other people, I have an online support group. It's on Facebook. It's called the Caregiving Trap. Even if you're isolated or you're feeling alone, you can still find ways to be with other people that don't involve having to physically leave your house. And there's a lot of opportunities like that. So don't let the years pass you by because you are hesitant to do something, or you're indecisive, or you're procrastinating, or you're just being pulled in a million directions. That's part of life, and it's part of life, especially for caregivers, which makes caregiving super complicated and super difficult. Try to find a way to maintain that mix of happiness and time in your happy place. Know what makes you happy. So similar to the aging parents that you care for, as you age, your network, the people that you know, your friends, is going to become smaller because people start to pass away. So be happy, and even if you're alone, don't hesitate to do things. Learn to be alone and be happy. If you want to go out to eat by yourself. Go see a movie by yourself. Go see a concert by yourself. Travel alone. Because you never know who you might meet. There are other people out there doing the same things by themselves because they refuse to allow to let life pass them by. Being alone does not mean that you have to be lonely. So the other tip here is that time to plan for the future is important, right? So if you're a caregiver, you're caring for your aging parents, you're seeing all these things happen, take that into account and start relating that to, my aging parents are experiencing this. What happens if I experience that? What can I do now so that I don't experience this madness that I, as the caregiver, are having to deal with? There's so many wonderful experiences from caregiving. I know it's challenging. I know it's exhausting. I know it's frustrating. It's so many things. All of that information and support for caregivers and aging adults is on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, where you will find my caregiver library, my podcast, The Caring Generation, my book, The Caregiving Trap, links to all the videos here on my YouTube channel, so much hope, help, and support. Thanks for being here. Again, please press those buttons below, share, like this channel so that other people can find hope, help, and support. Have a fabulous day today. I'll see you all again soon in another video.